Okay, it's time to get down to the dirt. Not just the reason for this build, but the details of why I'm going to these lengths and how this machine stacks up against the usual suspects. I'm going to put this machine, and so we have a frame of reference, I'm going to call it the TCI 5050, up against some of the other players in the marketplace. Not that I'm competing with them, rather that there are a few other machines that satisfy the requirements for the CNC luthiery work I currently perform, and my plans for the future. I think the Avid Pro 4848 is definitely in the running, and if I wasn't trying to improve on this machine, it's exactly what I would be purchasing. As a reference, I will also include my current machine, and while there's no equivalent to it, as the form factor has changed, and I think for the better, the CRP 2448, now known as the CRP 4824. To round out the group, I think we should also look at the Shapoco Pro Xxl. This makes for a rather robust set of machines that I think can all execute the work I need, and at the same time, all have different strengths and weaknesses. So let's take a deep dive and see if I can explain why I have made these choices. First, I think it's fitting to take a close look at my current machine specifications, some that are published and some that are not. As I've stated before, the form factor for this machine has changed. In its current form, the CRP 4824 is a great machine. It's constructed from 80/20 aluminum 15 series extrusion, rack and pinion drive on the X and Y, and ball screw on the Z, and can be fitted with NEMA 23 or NEMA 34 steppers as a secondary kit from Avid, or put together on your own, and uses skateboard bearings mounted in a very solid aluminum block and mild steel plate as bearing surfaces. For most luthiery work, it has more than enough tolerance and rigidity to get the job done, but some drawbacks do exist. The linear rail system is not incredibly precise and prone to the buildup of chips and occasional milling failures if the machine is not carefully and systematically maintained. While this machine is quite reliable, it has taken a lot of work to learn what it requires in terms of regular maintenance and setup to run the way it does today. Another minor detail is that the 15 series aluminum extrusion is a little bit smaller than the 40 series, and therefore just a bit less rigid. This, I'm sure, is to save in manufacturing and shipping costs. This machine is assembled as a kit, which could be a benefit or a drawback depending on the individual. I highly recommend this machine with one caveat: you will need to learn to maintain it. And if you don't do this work well, it will be very frustrating. The bearing surfaces require constant attention. Now, let's move on to the Shapoco Pro Xxl. I haven't run one of these machines, but I have some experience with their coating setup. I think we can still draw some conclusions for the specifications and compare them to the others. The Shapoco Pro Xxl has a cutting area of 17 inches by 34 inches by 4 inches, and a lot can be done with this limited space. It's delivered as a mostly assembled kit and seems like a great entry-level machine. The upgraded linear rails and large cutting area make it much more appealing than the previous models. I think a few things still limit its capabilities. The frame is customized aluminum extrusion, and to me, it's a little underbuilt compared to the Avid machines. The belt drive X and Y axes are just not enough for my needs. You'll be quite limited in your feed rates and cutting depths with the belt-driven axes and undersized framework on this machine. The stepper motors look to be NEMA 23s, but they're half the current of the steppers I currently use. So this would also limit your rapid rate, feed rate, and cutting depth. I wouldn't say I like the control software. It lacks some features that I need. Perhaps I'm wrong about this, and please, if you know better, feel free to let me know in the comments. I've created G-code for several friends running these machines. The reliance on absolute coordinates is a deal breaker for me. It makes any accuracy with 2 or more sided parts incredibly difficult. I'm still running Mach 3, and at some point I will be upgrading to Mach 4. The ability to run in relative coordinates and use work offsets are essential to me. As far as I know, they can't be done in the Shapoco software. Now let's look into what the Avid Pro 4848 can offer us. To me, this machine is very close to the ideal setup for my work. The size and rigidity are spot on. The 20mm linear rail is the perfect upgrade from the CRP 2448, and the accuracy and tolerance in the rack and pinion drive continue to be the best drive method available. 48 inches by 48 inches may seem a bit excessive for some. To me, this is near the perfect size. Even though I don't do production runs, I like having a machine capable enough to accomplish them if I happen to change my mind. If this machine is upgraded to a 40 series extrusion and extended a couple inches, you're landing squarely in the territory of the point of all this chitter-chatter. My TCI 5050 build intends to address all of these issues and a few more we haven't talked about, and some of these will have to wait for future videos. I've put a lot of thought into the electronics on this machine, and that topic is going to require its own video. The upgrade to the 40 series extrusion was not cost prohibitive for me, and if you desire, you could certainly adjust the files to accommodate the 15 series. On the surface, the TCI 5050 and the Avid Pro 4848 are very similar, and for many, the simple solution is to purchase one of these kits and get to work. I tend to walk my own path, and I rarely choose the easy way. With any luck, this path will be fruitful and entertaining. There are a few key differences that are primarily cost-saving measures that don't affect the machine's performance. I've chosen to use less expensive T-slot hardware in several forms. Instead of drop-in T-slot nuts, I've used economy slide-in T-nuts. And while the framing of the 80/20/40 series extrusion is metric, I've gone with standard hardware and saved a considerable amount in doing so. Instead of using anchor fasteners that require custom milling of the profiles on the base frame, I've used blank-end fastener clips. These changes from metric hardware to 5/16/18 standard hardware and the elimination of anchor fasteners has reduced the machine's framing costs considerably without adversely affecting the performance. I look forward to hearing your thoughts down in the comments. Shortly, I will address the costs of my machine and how it will impact the wallet compared to some of the others. Until then, thanks for watching.